conclave where we discuss, examine the sudden resurgence of the northeastern states of the country. 8 northeastern states, the landmass comprising 8% of the Indian subcontinent. Well, in this particular segment, we are going to put particular focus on connectivity and tourism. Connectivity has been one of the main issues previously when it comes to India, rest of India and northeastern states. Tourism, which has traditionally been the mainstay, but not really harnessed to its full potential. But all this has been put to rest. Is that the big question? We're going to talk about how we have seen in the recent past quantum jump in tourism, especially when we talk about the northeastern states, a massive ramping up of connectivity projects and a big infrastructure push with a particular focus on connectivity. We have seen an Udan push when we talk about the air connectivity, and railway connectivity has also escalated. I'm going to just quickly introduce my panelists once again, because they are the ones who are going to tell us how the rail connectivity, in fact, has completely escalated. It is all poised to actually change the whole way now northeastern people are going to, travel in different parts of the state, especially the hilly regions. Let me have the honor of introducing my panel, Shri Chetan Kumar Srivastava. Chetan Kumar Srivastava, thank you very much, General Manager, North Frontier Railway. Aapka bahut swagat hai. Ladies and gentlemen, why don't we have a huge round of applause for all my panelists. Also welcoming Bidyananda Barkakoty. He's the advisor of the North Eastern Tea Association. चाय की चर्चा आपके साथ करेंगे, क्योंकि अगर चाय की बात की जाए तो it's one of the, North East की जो heritage है, खास तौर पर असम की, उसके बिना कोई भी चर्चा अधूरी रहती है अगर चाय की चर्चा ना हो. Let me also welcome Shri Utpal Baruah. Utpal Baruah is the chief of the LGBI airport from Adani Group. Thank you very much. Udan push के बारे में आपसे पूछा जाएगा. And very glad to have with us on DD Dialogue Northeast Resurgence of Northeast, Jayanta Das. He's the area director, Bhutan, Nepal, Northeast, and also Darjeeling इनका area है. Thank you very much for taking out time. I'm going to quickly start with Baruah जी. आपसे मैं शुरुआत करना चाहूँगी. एक big उड़ान पुश के बारे में बहुत कुछ कहा जा रहा है, बहुत कुछ लिखा जा रहा है. Airports in the Northeast region, अब जो नए airports या projects हैं, तेजपुर, पासीघाट, जोरहाट, लीलाबारी, शिलोंग, पैंगोंग, ईटानगर, दीमापुर, 64 routes और operationalize होने वाले हैं, और भी कई, आप मेरे ख्याल से इसमें flights add होने वाली है. आप मुस्कुरा रहे हैं, बट आप समझ गए मेरा सवाल आपसे क्या होगा. Gone are the days जब connecting flights लेनी पड़ती थी. एक स्टडी ये बता रही है कि 900 weekend flights से the numbers have come to 1900 weekend flights from the entire northeast region. What has brought in this change or sudden change?
This Uran, पूरे देश का अब नागरिक. Uran was before also. But in 2016,
उड़ान अब उड़ रहा है.
Yeah, 2016 we have got a very robust civil aviation policy. It's known as National Civil Aviation Policy, and earlier it was called Regional Connectivity Scheme. It was renamed Uran, Pure Desh Ka Aam Nagrik, and it is basically to connect all the regional small airports which came years back during World War II or sometime around that only, but it was unused. So a very new novel idea was introduced that why can't we involve airlines also to do it? So the first time it was bid a route, and that is how an airline can bid the route, they can get it, and accordingly they have to do it, and government support it. Government support it, called viability gap funding, and that is how Guwahati airport is also connected with many, as you have said. But what it has brought it, first of all, the economic development, the international regulator, International Civil Aviation Organization says that if you spend $100 in aviation, it generates $325 in the area it is connected. If you need 100 persons in aviation, that means 610 persons job is getting created in the ground. So I think it's a great thing that, and very interesting to know that our Guwahati airport is surrounded by 16 airports. Dada told me that he went to Mohanbari airport, Dibrugarh airport, and came back same day, and he was very happy because see, same day I have come here without bags, without any belongings, come back, and he's very happy. Our vision is not so. Our vision is that we will be connecting all the 16 airports in the morning. Why? Because this area of the country, we get sunlight much before than the rest of the country.
Yes.
When we wake up, still Gujarat is
Sun rises in the east.
So what we can do, we can connect all the small airports in the morning. A person from Tezu can come in the morning, maybe 8 o'clock to Guwahati, can go to Trivandrum, do his job. Evening he can come back to Guwahati, stay the night, next day morning he is reaching home. So anybody, any citizen sitting in the northeast, residing in the northeast region can go any major cities in the country and come back only 24 years. Is the vision of Lokpriya Gopinath Bardolo International Airport.
And
along with, as you said, Uran. Yes, Uran will play a very important role because all the small airports will be connected by Uran. Bigger aircraft like Airbus 320 and all.
स्पेस से अगर उड़ान उड़ता चला गया तो जल्दी वो समय आएगा क्या कि नॉर्थ ईस्ट के पास अपना एक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय एयरपोर्ट भी हो सकता है?
अंतर्राष्ट्रीय
एयरपोर्ट.
It is already there. It's already there. And we are having now two connectivity to Singapore. Many people don't know.
Exactly. So when we say
know.
international airport operationalize as per international standards.
Yes.
Yes.
It will be the new. Probably many of you know that a new terminal building is coming up. It is 5 times bigger than the existing one. It is the first terminal coming up with a theme. What is the theme? Popo Fuller Pahi, the petal of foxtail orchid. Okay, it's coming up. It's going to be operational next year, towards the end of next year, October 2024. It will be operationalized, and it will bring all the opportunities, and we can support the tourists at least for next 20 years without any capacity deficiency.
So उड़ान उड़ता जाएगा और उससे होगा टूरिज्म पे और ज्यादा इजाफा. लेकिन टूरिज्म से पहले मैं रेल की बात करना चाहूंगी आपसे. आप मुस्कुरा रहे हैं चेतन श्रीवास्तव जी. तो there cannot be any big success story as bigger as Vande Bharat. And the challenging part, or perhaps just my work under progress hai, acceleration of rail connectivity, where you are trying to connect the capitals. जो कभी किसी ने शायद पहले सोचा नहीं था, क्योंकि पहाड़ी इलाका है तो क्या करना है, कैसे जाएगी ट्रेन, लेकिन अब वो सब नहीं है.
Correct. I'll just start with, see, is basically the mantra of the present government is transformation by transportation. That's the thing. And you see, first thing is, we have rightly begun with Udan, but there is a limitation of Udan. Everything cannot go by taking flight. So it has to be supported by rail network only. And yes, the plans is to connect each and every corner of the northeast, starting with all capital cities. The government has sanctioned 1,20,000 crores for all these projects, including connection to the border areas, which are really important as far as the security of the nation is concerned. Apart from this also, again, I will tell you, connectivity is important because we try to connect every corner. I will give you the example, Nagaland. The Dimapur was connected some 101 years back. 2022, after 102 years, now we have gone into Sukhovi inside the Nagaland, and we are trying to connect up to Imphal. Similarly, Mizoram also, we have gone up to Sairong. Arunachal, we are trying to connect up to Taiwan. Even the Arunachal, we are trying to take a loop kind of thing, connecting the Parsuram Kund and up to Rupai. So it's a big, everything is being connected, and not only connectivity. Next come is, there is a chicken neck. When you enter the northeast area, you have to enter from the Katiyar division, West Bengal, and the Bihar area. So there is a chicken neck because there are so many states there, but you have to enter via that only. So at that chicken neck also, there are two new connections are coming from Araria to Galgalia.
So chicken neck would not be the only link.
Yeah, that chicken neck, we are trying to remove that chicken neck. And as well as once we expand the network, we are trying to speed up our
प्रधानमंत्री
trains.
गति शक्ति पॉलिसी
Yes,
के
yes,
द्वारा
गति.
मैं उस पे गति की बात करें तो there are clearly not only expansion of railways but roadways also, where you're looking at massive infrastructure projects, especially
Exactly.
आपके जो मिजोरम, मेघालय,
Exactly.
सिक्किम बेल्ट के जो hilly regions
Yeah.
हैं.
Even Sikkim, we are going up to say Rangpo will be connected by next March. Only there is some problem in the Meghalaya area because of some Khasi student union movement, if you know that. Otherwise, we could have connected Meghalaya also. But since you talked about Gati Shakti, our now plan is whatever network is there, we will speed up our trains from 110 kmph speed to 130. And you have seen the Vande Bharat was recently introduced in between Guwahati and New Jalpaiguri. So finally, we have to go up to 160 kilometers speed. So that's it. We will be providing Gati very soon to
रेलवे
our
से गति
trains.
शक्ति एंड एयर कनेक्टिविटी में
Yeah.
उड़ान. और अगर टूरिज्म पे आए तो जयंत जी आपसे पूछना चाहेंगे. I was just going through some numbers. 500% increase has been reported in tourism. 500% increase. 500% का इजाफा केवल एक साल में हुआ है. टूरिज्म में पूरे अगर नॉर्थ ईस्ट की बात की जाए तो ये अचीवमेंट अपने में ही बहुत बड़ी बात है. पहले अगर डोमेस्टिक टूरिज्म पे ट्रेडिशनली बात की जाती थी, एलटीसी की बात की जाती थी या नॉर्मल वेकेशंस की बात की जाती थी तो नॉर्थ, कभी कभी साउथ, नॉर्थ ईस्ट का कभी जिक्र नहीं होता था. लेकिन अब वो कैसे बदल गया है? कनेक्टिविटी.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Bhatt. I think first of all, would like to thank Doordarshan for organizing this event in this part of the country, Northeast, and in Vivanta, Guwahati. So thank you very much. I think the entire perspective about Northeast has gone through a sea change over the last 8 to 9 years. So what we have seen, there's a huge focus, not only from the central government in terms of driving economic growth across Northeast, but I think across all our 8 states of Northeast, we have currently very dynamic leadership, which I think has been anchoring and driving the economic growth of the region. So the first thing that probably would require for tourism to thrive is peace in the area. I think that's something that we can all be very, very sure of across Northeast. The next, of course, is the connectivity. And I think my two co-panelists, both from airlines and railways, have elaborately spoken about it. Now, I think that's what gives wings to tourism, when you have peace and when you have a proper connectivity. Because I think we don't have any doubt that Northeast is probably one of the most beautiful part of our country, which has been unexplored over the last many, many years.
Yes.
So as an organization, I represent the IHCL, which is the hospitality arm of the Tatas. And as the area director of Northeast, the prime responsibility and the focus that we have is how we can partner the government, both at the central and the state, in driving tourism across Northeast. So the hotel that we are now here, we opened it in 2015. So that was the first hotel of ISCL, the Taj Group, across Northeast. And as I talk to you, over the next 3 to 4 months, we will have 9 hotels across Northeast.
Oh, great.
So there are two parameters, two aspects rather. First is the concept of domestic tourism, where people come with their families, and you have wellness tourism, you have medical tourism, you have eco-friendly tourism. I'm going to come to that bit. And then you're also targeting the influx of international tourists. And that is also, that is something, because destination Northeast, जो कि Northeast any vision है center का, उसका एक बहुत ही अहम हिस्सा है. How do you propose to go on that? The making Northeast hub of eco-friendly and wellness tourism.
So we are not looking at just one hotel. We are trying to create destinations out of Northeast.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you look at how we have planned our hotel so far, so like we got 2 hotels in Sikkim, one at Chiakutir, which is at the Karshiong, okay, where we are trying to create itineraries for our guests. Similarly, we have a hotel here. We have a hotel in Shillong, which we opened last November. And over the next 3 months, we are actually opening up a hotel, a Vivanta in Tawang.
Oh,
I think
Tawang.
so one of the most beautiful place probably. So
Tawang will have
a Vivanta
its hotel, yes.
And then of course we are in the process of another 9 to 10 hotels at different stages of discussions.
So is there is definitely a palpable demand, which
There is definitely a demand, and I think it's been the way we are looking at Northeast right now is that there's of course a pent-up demand, and what people were actually looking for was a right ecosystem for tourism, and that's where as an hospitality chain we come in. We are most probably the only organized hospitality chain right now to have a definite vision and a game plan across Northeast. So over the next 3 to 4 years, we look at least 20 to 25 hotels across Northeast. And we feel there's a huge potential, and we feel, I mean, we have as an ISCL, with a lot of humility, created destinations like Goa and Kerala. And I think now it's our turn to build Northeast as a destination.
What do you think, before I go to the other panelists, since you talked about Goa, Kerala is also one of the popular tourist destinations in domestic tourism. Goa has its own vibe, own tourist sector, own energy. What do you think is the USP of North?
So I think, as I said, the natural beauty that we have is unexplored. And most importantly, I think for us in Northeast, hospitality comes very naturally. I think that's the first thing and the strength of Northeast, the people. So you go to any of the major metros across the country, the best set of workers that you find in the hospitality industry are definitely from Northeast. So with that, but unfortunately, they are not being recognized well because of a formal certificate that they don't have, most of them. And we also realized that it's not about just setting up hotels in the region. It's also our commitment on terms of our ESG platform about how we can develop a total ecosystem.
Okay.
So based on that, we actually 3 months back started a hospital skill center in partnership with Government of India and Ministry of Tourism, Government of Assam. And as I talk to you, we got around 150 students who are already enrolled. Few of them are actually working here today.
Okay.
And they all belong to the marginalized section of our communities, mostly from the tea growing gardens, the workers.
Okay.
And they are all there, and idea is to create livelihood for them. And they would definitely be the asset of our tourism, of our hospitality.
So क्योंकि आपने टी ग्रोअर्स की बात की, तो नॉर्थ ईस्ट की बात करें तो चाय की चर्चा होगी, क्योंकि असम चाय है या नॉर्थ ईस्ट की चाय, ग्रीन टी, रेड टी, there are many variants. But on a serious note, बाकरकोटी जी आपसे ये समझना चाहेंगे कि ऐसी क्या खास बात है यहाँ की चाय में, उसकी खुशबू में, और अब क्योंकि रिसर्जेंस ऑफ नॉर्थ ईस्ट में टूरिज्म का बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा है, और टूरिज्म की बात करें तो आपकी असम चाय और लार्जर कंसर्न्स, मैं आपसे पहले चाय का सवाल ही पूछूंगी, मैं उससे पहले आपसे ये समझना चाहूंगी, जो आपके ट्री प्लांटेशंस है, जो आपकी एसोसिएशंस है, जो टी ग्रोवर्स है, उनके कंसर्न्स, क्योंकि ये कहानी उनके बिना पूरी नहीं हो सकती, and they have their own concerns. What is the roadmap for in that direction, and what is the state government doing in that?
Yeah, first of all, I thank Doordarshan for organizing this dialogue here in Guwahati, and also for inviting me as a panelist. First, I need to congratulate myself and all of you that this year, 2023, is the 200 years of Assam tea. So Assam tea was discovered in Assam in 1823 by Robert Bruce with the help of an Assamese called Moniram Datta Baruah. And so we are celebrating 200 years of Assam tea this year. And all of you know that Assam is synonymous to Assam tea. In many parts of the globe, many may not know where Assam is, but they know about Assam tea. We produce 52% of our country's tea.
Delhi mein bhi hum Assam tea peete hain.
Yes, and yeah, because we produce 52% of our country's tea and 13% of the world's tea here. And you know, there are two places in the earth where tea originated. One is southern China, and the second is Assam.
Assam in India.
Yeah, and out of the total tea bushes all over the world where tea grows, 50% is of Assam variety. So this Assam variety scientifically
So Assam tea is going to the world?
Yeah,
already popular.
No, Assam tea went to London in 1838. So it is almost 185 years. Okay. And in the last budget speech of our finance minister in Assam Assembly a few months back, she said that 90% of our total exports from Assam is tea. Of the total exports, 90% is tea. And tea was exported from this region, which was, you know, very backward at that point of time, 185 years back. But still, it exported in 1838. As first, the export started in 1838. So Assam tea is very strong tea and very famous worldwide. Assam Orthodox, particularly, is very, very famous.
It's part of your heritage base.
It is very much a heritage industry because it is 200 years old industry. And we are the largest employer after Indian Railways. And 50% of our workforce are women. So when we talk about women empowerment, it is the tea industry where actually women are empowered long back. And it is a very green industry, eco-friendly industry, so we are very proud of that.
Fair enough.
And
now,
regarding tourism, when you asked about tourism, so tea tourism during this government has taken a very good steps for increasing, to build infrastructure for tea tourism. So government of Assam is providing 2 crore as a subsidy, 50% of the total project cost, and there would be about 50 projects, tea tourism projects would come up. And one project where I am involved, which is in Durong Tea Estate, we have almost completed 65% of the work, which will give a very clear view of the tea estates, because you know the tea plantations here in Assam are in a very, very big area. So people will have a beautiful feel of Assam, and they can stay in the nature.
रेल कनेक्टिविटी पे थोड़ा सा एक और सवाल मैं जोड़ना चाहती थी कि जो आपका एक पेपर है रिसर्च का, ये मल्टीपल प्रोजेक्ट्स जो इनॉग्रेट अभी तक हुए हैं, उसकी एक टाइमलाइन भी है, ऐसा नहीं है? मॉनिटरिंग हो रही है?
यस यस,
मॉनिटरिंग बहुत हो रही है, आपको डेडलाइंस दी जाती है और आपको बिल्कुल, हाँ, तो 320 आपने कंप्लीट किए हैं और 890 अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन है अभी। आपके रोड प्रोजेक्ट्स की मैं बात कर रही हूँ, मेघालय, मणिपुर, अरुणाचल प्रदेश, जो सबसे मुश्किल टेरेन वाले क्षेत्र है।
You know that terrain here in north east area is difficult. तो जो मुश्किल वाले क्षेत्र हैं, we think that हम लोग मणिपुर में जिरीबाम से खोंगसैक तक चले गए, we have to go up to इम्फाल, साइरांग नीचे हमको बदरपुर सिल्चर से उतर के नीचे जा रहे हैं। There are so many tunnels and bridges which needs to be constructed, which require a special technical expertise. The usual tunnel boring machines doesn't work, but there is a method called Australian tunneling method. Okay. It is being deployed, and we hope to finish all those important projects by 2026. I can just tell you in last 4 or 5 years, we have added almost 460 kilometers doubling line, single line was converted into double line sections, and another 580 kilometers of new lines have been constructed in this area. It is unprecedented. At this rate, Indian Railway was never used to
So
work.
this is also forming your major chunk of employment.
Yeah. So that is how we are. The plans are even to connect with Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan. Bangladesh, we are connecting Maisasan in Assam to
Bhutan ka bhi link
Bhutan.
hai.
Also, we are going from Kokrajhar.
Kokrajhar, and then there is one
And
route
Tripura also from
Punsholing, the road.
Yeah. So all these, once these things are also connected, it will give a altogether different push to the Southeast Asian economy also, because trade will also improve.
Yeah. So the trade volumes we are looking at, Mr. Baruah, sirf jab airports banenge, the story doesn't stop there. The story starts there, because we are now also aiming influx of international tourists.
Right.
So you know that point on Northeast going to have its full-fledged, I repeat, full-fledged international.
Right. So the fact is, somebody may agree, may not agree. If any Indian travel to eastern countries via Guwahati, they will be saving time and they will be saving price. So that is why Guwahati has a very strong potential of becoming a hub, international hub towards east. We are working for that. And also the domestic I have already spoken, and international I have already spoken. So besides, as far as tourist is concerned, 2 days back we had a discussion workshop at airport. Honorable Minister of Tourism Jayanta Baruah was there. Additional Chief Secretary, Secretary Commerce and Industry. We want to contribute towards tourism, because if tourism flourishes, airport also flourishes. And if airport flourishes, tourism can also
Toli daman ka saath
So
hai.
correct. So we have discussed, we have taken the initiative very consciously.
Your compatriot from tourism.
You're right. Tourists will come either by train.
वो आपको कह रहे हैं कि आप एयरपोर्ट बनाइए, हमें टूरिस्ट दीजिए.
Correct. They will come either by train or by air. Will stay in hotel and have
तो
tea.
ये आप एयरपोर्ट दे दीजिए इनको, ये टूरिस्ट देंगे, और इनके जब टूरिस्ट ज्यादा आएंगे तो आपका रेवेन्यू भी होगा, आपके एयरपोर्ट्स चलेंगे.
चाय पत्ती भी के लिए.
So what very important here I want to say. So that's what I was serving Goa airport 7 years, and very closely I have seen how members of a family is directly or indirectly related to tourism industry.
Okay.
92% of the charter flight, international charter flight carrying tourists land alone in Goa. And how all missionaries, including government, then Chief Minister Manohar Parrikar was closely associated with it. Even if flight gets cancelled, we used to get call from Chief Minister office. How did it happen? So there's a story, there's a study recently we have gone through it. It says that there are a few obstacles why tourism doesn't flourish in a place. The number one, it was identified that it is lack of government policy and plan. So we must be concerned about it, that what kind of policy is coming up, how the common people, how the all agencies, all industries
ये आप
are.
पहले की बात कर.
Now it is, I think, coming up. If it is coming up, and I'm not aware of, but I know that something is going on, and very soon it will be published. That is number one. Second is the infrastructure. So infrastructure, now let us assume that a couple is coming from Sweden and landing at Guwahati airport, and they want to go to Kaziranga. What infrastructure we have? What kind of taxi services we have? What kind of taxi drivers we have? Right? So all these are part, and what kind, if they want to go to Manos, do you have that kind of accommodation there? So the infrastructure also plays a very important role. Then lack of basic hygiene is one of them. So like that, there are a few things probably we have to take care simultaneously, such that as an industry, tourism flourishes.
Okay. So a tourism expert, what is your take on it?
Yeah, so I think since we are at a very, very nascent stage of drafting the tourism policies across Northeast, one thing I think that we need to be very, very careful about is how do we nurture and how are we committed to the ESG platforms. I think that's extremely important, because with all respect, I think we We do not want our Northeast to become one of those hill stations where we are overused. I think that's something that we need to really be serious about. To a very large extent, I think we should be inspired by how Bhutan has been drafting their tourism policies. Though right now they have seen a very extreme part, but overall I think the sustainability of the
size of Bhutan, and we are looking at a larger chunk of 8 states.
Yeah, see the way they have been able to express the commitment towards the ecosystem, the environment, by screening the people. Okay, it's not about. I think there are certain areas across Northeast we need to identify them for tourism for masses, and certain areas tourism for classes. Now, in our urge and in our excitement to bring tourism, tomorrow if we have 500 cars getting into Kaziranga is not a good idea.
Yes.
Okay, so that's where I think we need to really have a check. And because we as an organization, we have a system where, by our Pathya is one of our system, that the ecosystem that we have in terms of driving our ESG platforms. And I think that's something should be the guiding inspiration for us, the way we want to shape up tourism across Northeast.
Jayanta ji, if you could just elaborate a bit more about this tourism for classes and tourism for masses. First, let me just confine this to the masses thing, because the domestic tourism is also very important. And when you say masses, how are you proposing to make it more pocket friendly for anyone who wants to come to Northeast for holiday, whether it is a LTC holiday, why I'm saying, because you have to cater to different segments and sections of society. Correct. Or a luxurious holiday. Well, that is a classes wala thing. But first, masses.
So see, I think there are, as tourism fraternity, along with the government and other stakeholders, we need to identify destinations and locations where we would definitely want a large number of people to come. For example, in Assam, Kamakya is one destination, right, where you'd like to have mass tourism. But there could be certain other destinations where you really can't have a lot of masses, because that will kill the ecosystem.
Okay.
So you can't have you need to have a sustainable tourism, and I think the entire tourism philosophy needs to be developed around that, because we are talking about tomorrow. What is that we are leaving for the future?
So is there a fine print already?
So that's something that that I would urge that the government should look at. Okay, as I said, I started with tomorrow, in our excitement to drive tourism, do we really want 500 cars to get into Kaziranga?
Okay.
Then the destinations of the Kaziranga will not be there tomorrow. So
basically,
that is what is
the sustainable development.
Extremely important.
Yes.
Extremely important.
Yes. Yes. Aap bataiye.
So there is also one topic of today's discussion is about regarding connectivity. And as I said, we started exporting in 1838, but now in this 200 years of Assamti, now time has come for Government of India to think. Why I'm saying this, because it is a national channel and I should speak out.
Please, yes.
And now Government of India and the state government should plan that the exports hub should be Guwahati or near Guwahati. Because the exports, the tea exports were always, the hub has been Calcutta. And now time has come that under the Act East policy of the Government of India, we should think of making Guwahati as the export hub of Assam.
Okay, and what about the rest of the?
Rest of the Northeast does not produce much tea. We as a whole, Northeast as a whole produces 55% of our country's tea, out of which 52% is produced by Assam alone. So rest of the Northeast produces only 3% of our country's tea. So once Guwahati becomes the hub for the tea exports, the other Northeastern states will also be benefited from.
Because we have resurgence of Northeast ki baat kare, this is an important chapter, an important step towards re-energizing the economy. If you talk about, the economic corridor wala thing,
I want to point out one more very important thing.
Sure.
See, now with the good relations between India and Bangladesh, so you can use their ports. You can use their, because during pre-independence era, this region was prosperous because of this waterways that which now is Bangladesh, which used to be the trading point. So that is why pre-independence era, this region was prosperous than the rest of the country. So now with the good relationship that we have with Bangladesh, now they are allowing to use their ports like Mongla and other ports. Chittagong ports, Mongla ports, that we can use. But only interesting thing is that you can use their ports by only coming back to India. I mean, you cannot go further. So under the Act East policy, if we can start exporting from this region and we can use the Bangladesh ports and then we can go further to the ASEAN countries, then that would be beneficial. Now you can use their ports, but you have to again come back to India. You can use their ports to come back to India. No, you cannot go to other countries by using their ports. So this is one policy decision that I want to bring to the notice of Government of India.
Before I go to the other panelists, now I want to ask, how do you propose to further improvise your Assamti ka jo hum baat kar rahe hain as a heritage? How do you propose to make tea industry one of the mainstays of the Northeast tourism?
Yeah, so as I said, this government has very recently taken a very bold step of setting up tea tourism projects. 50 tea tourism projects our Honorable Chief Minister has announced, and they have announced that they will be giving 50% subsidy and up to 2 crore per project. So almost 30 projects have been submitted and it's reviewed, and as I said, one of the projects where I am involved in a tea state, we have almost completed 65% of it. So this is one sector where it is tea tourism. So another is that along with tea, the government is now thinking of if we can have they are allowing 5% of our total land to be used for other crops other than tea. Previously, it was not allowed. So for in that 5% land, we can do tea tourism. We can go for other cash crops, which will bring us extra revenue. Okay. And we are also planning to it is Assam tea is already a brand, but we are trying to create a brand all over the world so that we sell as a Assam tea. Everybody knows about Darjeeling tea, but Darjeeling tea industry is just 2% of the Assam tea industry. Okay. Very small. We are very big. Lakhs and lakhs of people's livelihood is dependent upon this industry. So we want to make this industry a very sustainable one, and we want to focus on quality. We want to previously we didn't focus much on branding. Okay. So now we are
that's a very important point.
Yes, we are now focusing on the branding. We are focusing on our quality, and also we want to.
So you have Make in India.
Yeah, and also we
Made
want,
in India, Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat.
And also we want that every cup of tea that we drink should be safe. So we are trying to use very, very less pesticides nowadays. So that every cup of tea that we drink, previously our focus was that the tea which we export should be free of pesticides or chemicals and like that. But now our focus is that because India is the largest producer of black tea in the world. India is the largest consumer of black tea in the world. Okay. Yeah, India is a very big tea consuming nation. 1,000 million kgs of tea is consumed in India alone. So we want it to be very quality wise and also from eco-friendly. As I said, it's a very eco-friendly, but at the same time, we are focusing on so that if not organic, at least it should be such that the MRLs, the maximum residue limits in every cup of tea should be within the permissible limit. And so these are our focus at present. And we hope this industry will remain for another many centuries to come.
There is absolutely no doubt about it, sir. I'm going to go across to Chetan Kumarji. Now that point, I want you to elaborate a bit more on that, connecting the capitals via rail network. और जब ये होगा और पूरी तरह से होगा, आई थिंक ये अपने में एक इतिहास रचा जाएगा, क्योंकि आप पहाड़ों की चोटियों तक भारतीय रेलवे को लेके जा रहे हैं गति शक्ति के द्वारा।
बिल्कुल सही बात आपने बोली।
क्योंकि आपने रिवर क्रूज में तो इतिहास रचा ही है यहाँ पे नॉर्थ ईस्ट, तो अब रेल में भी।
मैं आपको उससे आगे की बात बताऊंगा।
अच्छा, पहाड़ों को चीर के ऊपर जाना।
पहाड़ों को तो हम लोग चीर चुके हैं ऑलरेडी
जी।
अब हम देशों को चीरने की बात कर रहे हैं। नाउ प्लानिंग इज दैट बिकॉज सदर्न स्टेट्स ऑफ नॉर्थ ईस्ट रीजन जो है, दे हैव टू, व्हेन दे गो वाया रेल, दे हैव टू take a circular route. So what planning is that we have already entered Bangladesh from both the sides. From Bengal area, that Sialda division in Eastern Railway. Here also from North Frontier Railway we are planning to enter. So the planning is that we'll cross complete Bangladesh nation from the southern side of our northeast region to reduce the transport time. So that is the planning. I know the states would be connected by 2026, and network, it's a continuous thing that network will proliferate in the coming years. But the bigger thing is that to reduce the time to compete with Udan, railway can afford.
Gati Shakti ko Udan
Yeah,
ki,
Gati Shakti is this only that we have
Gati
to
Shakti aur Udan
go
ka
across
hath
the
milaye.
nation. To go across the whole Bangladesh and towards the Bengal area. That is the planning.
Okay, Mr. Baruah, what
I
is
hope
the-
it will come true.
It will, of course.
Very, maybe 5 to 10 years maximum.
when Ganga Vilas can be
Yeah.
reality and script history, why can't this be?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Yes, healthy communication is always good. And in many places we have competed with railways. And here, because of the chicken neck, we have the advantage of bringing people from Kolkata in 55 minutes.
Yeah.
And by train it is 24 hours, or that is slightly
18
less
hours.
than that.
18 hours.
Yeah. But still, it is both mode of transportation is very important.
Yeah.
And for tourism, as a whole, not only the surface transportation, the last mile connectivity, right? Those are very important. And I said about the tourism industries like a chain. There are a lot of different industries are knit together. And the strength of the industry is the strength of the weakest bud. So that's why we have to see whether all are equally strengthened or not. That's very important. And the awareness, I think our previous discussion, it was emphasized that awareness is the key of success. I strongly believe that awareness is the key of success even in tourism industry. And I don't look at tourism for Northeast region as an industry only. Tourism is the future of Northeast.
Yes, Mr. Das, future aapke haath, tourism industry.
Yeah, I think this is probably, we don't need to debate on that because as I said, Northeast is...
No, we're not debating. We are trying to understand what is the way forward, what is the kind of vision ahead.
Yeah, so the vision is, as I said, Northeast is not about just one hotel here and there.
Absolutely, yes.
It's about creating destinations. And the idea that we have as an organization is to create destinations in a way that we can get guests. We're not only looking at domestic leisure, but we're looking at Europe and US and across. So the idea is that...
So this can be developed as a hub of wellness tourism.
Hub of wellness tourism. It can be hub of many tourism. It could be in terms of, our brand of safaris can come here for different, the national parks that we have, right? And I think...
water bodies.
Yeah, and I think overall, Northeast can offer different dimension of tourism because there's so much of varieties we have. We have the parks, we have the hills, we have the jungles, we have a very, very pristine beauty.
Yes.
So I think all are different brands that we have.
Why was this thought missing earlier, say if we go back 10 years?
So as I said, over the last 10 years, we probably saw a lot of dynamism in terms of driving the economic growth for Northeast from the central government and most of the state governments. I think that's what propelled the whole idea of driving tourism. And Northeast is one area where I think the biggest money churner and the biggest creation of livelihood can only be through tourism. because we can't really think of huge, large industries coming up. And I think tourism is one which naturally fits into this ecosystem. And this is definitely would be the largest creation of livelihood across all 8 states of Northeast. And we do not have a hesitation in that. And actually as an organization, we are working towards, and as I said, over the next 3 to 4 years, we are looking at least 22 to 23 hotels across 8 states of Northeast, across our portfolio of brands that we have.
Do you see some sort of trend now? If you could just share some insight that people are wanting to go to not very commercialized places. People are wanting to have quiet getaways nestled in nature. And that is where your Northeast comes in picture, because you're so rich in natural abundance and natural resources, which unfortunately haven't been harnessed so far.
Yes. So I think, overall, we have been seeing, if you name few of the tourism hub that we had in India, it was Goa, Kerala, and Rajasthan to a large extent. And then,
North.
And see, I think this is what people have been going and visiting, and probably multiple times. So everybody wants to visit Northeast because they understand Northeast is a very, very unexplored destination, full of bounty, natural beauty. And I think what was missing was the connectivity, which my 2 friends here are creating, and the right infrastructure and the ecosystem. And that's where we are trying to, contribute to. Mm-hmm. And I feel, and I'm extremely positive about, over the next 3 to 4 years, tourism and Northeast, particularly tourism in Northeast, would be the biggest money churner. And I think we will give Goa and Kerala the run for the money.
I hope Goa and Kerala are listening to this and watching this. And can we have some quick questions before we take panel?
Can I just say, I'm just...
we'll take questions, be ready with the questions. Yeah, sure,
so I'm just answering your question first to me. So one thing is that ICMR recently said that there are 3 reasons why the death for COVID is less in India compared to many other countries. And that is, one is because of drinking of tea.
Okay.
Out of 3 reasons.
Because I am a big tea drinker myself.
Yeah, because that 3 reasons. One is drinking of tea is one of the reasons why there is less death of COVID. It is said by ICMR, not by
It
me.
increases your immunity or something?
So what you asked me, what we are doing it. So we are now trying to promote tea as a healthy and a lifestyle beverage.
Okay.
And also being, you have come from Delhi and being in taking the privilege of being in a national TV channel. So I would appeal to our Honorable Prime Minister to declare tea as the national drink of India, because the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Commerce has already recommended tea to be declared as the national drink of India. So there was a question in the Parliament long back, why if tea is declared as the national drink, it will be at the cost of coffee. So then I went to media next day and I asked, when you have declared tiger as the national animal, was it at the cost of lion?
Good one.
So tea and coffee cannot be compared, because tea is of India origin. Coffee is not of India origin. And there are many other arguments, but the strongest point that we have is tea is of India origin. You cannot bring a bird from Siberia and call it the national bird of India.
Correct.
So tea, as I said, originated only 2 places in the world. One is Assam and one is southern China. So taking the privilege, I would appeal to our Honorable Prime Minister to, this is 200 years of Assam tea, and another thing that have changed the perception, which I personally feel perception of Assam as a whole, is because our beloved Prime Minister Modi ji wearing our Assamese gamusa in many of the major events. This has also helped us. Yes, it has a brand and it has really helped us a lot.
आपके festivals brand है, आपका गमछा brand है, आप चाय heritage है, आपके path breaking कंस्ट्रक्शन प्रोजेक्ट्स रेलवेज में चल रहे हैं, डैम्स में चल रहे हैं, पोर्ट्स में चल रहे हैं, रिवर क्रूज में चल रहे हैं, एयरपोर्ट्स पे चल रहे हैं, और बचा क्या सवाल बचते हैं, कुछ सवाल लेते हैं, क्वेश्चंस, कीप इट ब्रीफ.
हेलो Hello, sir. I'm from Assam Royal Global University, and my name is Dev Bhattacharya. Sir, my question goes to Shri Utpal Baruah, sir. Sir, being a citizen of India, I guess most of us are confused about what are some potential benefits of privatization of airports and how it may differ from public ownership.
Privatization you are talking about. Yeah, privatization started in the world, not now, in 1987. The first private airport in the world is the Heathrow Airport. So Heathrow and another 6 airports got privatized in 1987. It is the latest trend which has picked up from 1996. And why government should run an airport? Government should play the role of the regulator. So that is why you must have seen that all the private airports, their endeavor is to make profit. And in that process, they bring a lot of changes. You must have seen in Hyderabad Airport, Delhi Airport, when the inside security whole area is no less than a mall, right? So that is why when the privatization becomes, then in order to make a profitable venture, they have to bring different kind of facilities there. There is no other way of doing that. And in that process, the airport gets benefited, government gets benefited, and the people and place where it is located also get benefited.
Yeah, in the earlier panel, we spoke at length about the need of public-private partnership in a lot of sectors.
Yes.
And aap airport keh rahe, to some airports are an experience in themselves. And I'm talking about airports which are branded as international airports in India. One more question. Yes.
A very warm good evening to all the panel members. So my question over here is I'd like to highlight the point of waterways. So you can't deny the fact that waterways is the most cheapest form of transport. So all of the industries you are associated with, like tea industry, is associated with the transport. So being a landlocked area, Northeast don't have any waterways except Brahmaputra and its tributaries. And we also know that fact that Brahmaputra is not connected to all of the states. And apart from that, we don't have any marine connections. And talking about the aviation industry, it is also some or the other way connected to the water transport. And talking about the hospitality industry, it is directly connected to waterways. Since you have to export and import many of the things, all of the resources are not available at one place.
So you are saying, to cut the question short,
yes.
Waterways development is at the very nascent stage.
Yes.
Okay, let me, since this question is, who would like to take the question? Waterways. But before that, let me also tell you that the national waterways in the northeastern region, there's this inland water transport project that is already underway.
Yeah.
It runs into multi-crores. Because you talked about tapping the potential of rivers, so it's basically poised on river Brahmaputra. From Dhubri to Sadia, including the upgradation of terminals of the ports. Actually, ठीक है, sir, ये ports का और waterways का ज़्यादा चर्चा होती नहीं. Actually, he's right.
No, I think I can because now the shipping and ports minister is from Assam and probably he was here in morning. Sri Sarvananda Sonowal ji.
बिल्कुल.
So after he took over, I think there is a sea change in the waterways. There was a big ship who has come from, I think, from one of the northern states to Dibrugarh. And as I said, he's very rightly said, this region can be very prosperous if we can start the trading from here via Bangladesh ports and beyond to ASEAN countries. So I think the waterways is already there. We have to build up
Since
further.
you have the advantage of rivers, untamed rivers, so this is work under progress.
And
Your inland waterways.
nowadays you can, the big ships can go. There is no problem.
You wanted to add to that?
No, I said about seaplane and all. Seaplane and all, I think in this area it cannot be economically viable because in Malay and all Maldives we have seen it is in use, and that kind of use probably in our land it may not be possible. But what you said about river tourism, as a river tourism, independent one, is quite possible, and as you say, it is coming up.
When Ganga Vilas can script history, I think there is a lot that is waiting in Northeast. One more question, and with that we wrap up. Yes. Anybody else? Because you've already. Anybody else? Okay, you're lucky. Go ahead.
Good evening, panel. Good evening, Didi. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm Avajit Paul from Assam Downtown University. My question to the panel is, as we had discussed tourism in Northeast and resurgent Northeast as today's topic goes, respected panel, do you think regions in Northeast like Karbi Anglong, some of the infrastructures are still rural, so do you think in order to attract global tourism, it is the need of the hour to attract global infrastructure first, which will attract tourism, or do you feel like...
What do you mean global infrastructure?
Global infrastructure, I mean, when global tourists arrive here, there are a few infrastructures that they might not feel safe to live or accommodate themselves. So do you think it's the need of the hour to develop the infrastructure first of such rural regions, or leave it the way it is to preserve the naturalism of the region?
Mr. Das.
Okay. So I think most of your questions, I think I've already, it was there in my discussion. I think now Northeast is probably one of the most safe and peaceful areas across our country, number one. Number two, we are looking at connectivity, railways, airways, and I think, we will very shortly be, and we are already, and very shortly be very well connected across the globe. The next is, how do we then leverage, in terms of creating infrastructures in different locations across Northeast. So as I said, in the next 3 months, we are opening up a hotel at Tawang. That's probably one of the most remotest part of the country. So if we can think of opening a Vivanta at Tawang, we are actually in the process of at a different level of discussions of opening up hotels at different parts of Assam and across Northeast. Okay, it'll be too early for me to say, but across different parts of, very close to Karbi Anglong. Okay, so we are actually creating those infrastructures, and we very, very strongly feel that it's the right time for us to invest in tourism across Northeast. And as I said, over the next 3 to 4 years, Northeast will be the hub of tourism activities across in India.
All right. On that
I would like to add.
Sure.
You talked about two things, global tourism and global infrastructure. Is it? See, first thing is, infrastructure is prime most requirement. Unless the infrastructure is there, there won't be any tourism. And once you say global means, I mean, it takes, you're talking about the world-class thing. So if you want that the global people from all over the world, different corners, they come to that place to visit, that is a global tourism, you have to give them world-class infrastructure. That is the only thing. So there are two things. We are building our infrastructure. It is easy to make the world-class infrastructure, but very difficult to maintain again. For maintaining the infrastructure, somewhere we are definitely lacking. You must have experienced it. But we are nobody to blame anybody else. We are all ourselves responsible. Like I will tell you, if the Vande Bharat train is running, you must have heard several news items that किसी ने पत्थर फेंक दिया, किसी ने कुछ तोड़ दिया. So once you create that kind of a thing, you have to value it. And once you value it, we will definitely, we are capable of creating the world-class infrastructure, no doubts. But once it is created, it should be valued,
right,
and you will get the global tourism.
When Ganga Vilas can come to reality within the most record shortest period of time, anything can happen in Northeast. On that very assuring note, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us. We have spoken from Gati Shakti in Indian Railways to Udan in airport connectivity to, making the Northeast, entire Northeast region as a hub of the wellness tourism. By the way, not domestically, but we're looking at the influx of international tourists. उस दिशा में भी बहुत कुछ चल रहा है और चाय पे चर्चा भी हमने की. Assam tea, one of the integral parts of Northeast का जो heritage है, cultural heritage है. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us on this panel. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause. From airport to rail to chai to tourism. Thank you. I quickly thank Shri Chetan Kumar Srivastava, General Manager, Northeast Frontier Railways. Thank you very much, Bidyananda Barkakoty, Advisor, Northeastern Tea Association. I also thank Shri Utpal Baruah. You have a lot of work to do. We are waiting for the international, full-fledged international airport of the Northeast.
Yes,
that's what we are really looking forward to. And many thanks, Jayanta Das, Area Director, Bhutan, Nepal, Northeast Taj Group of Hotels. Thank you all of you for joining us. And with that, we wrap up this technical session of discussion covering tourism, industry and connect. Namaste.